guys, I'd like to welcome you back to the Barber Biz Podcast. And today we have another special guest at Spud Cuts. It's a pleasure to be able to have him here today. You doing all right?
Yeah, man, I'm chilling, man.
That's what's up.
Blessed.
So you were able to get a day off real quick, on a Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say enjoying it, but catching up on a lot of work, running errands and stuff like that. That's the only reason I even take Mondays off, so I can get that. Most people be closed during the weekends, like on the Sundays and stuff. So I have to get that one day in the week that I need off, just so I can, handle business.
So, it's funny. I noticed, what really caught my eye with you specifically is honestly the quality of your work. I mean, and your work really speaks for itself. So, that's why I wanted to make sure that I reached out to you, because I see that you're doing quality work. You're taking quality pictures. You got videos. You're doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So how did you really get your start in the business?
Well, when I was about 14, my grandma, she did hair at the kitchen, right? So like me and my brother would like edge each other up. And then like one day I was like, let me see, can I take the other clippers and like cut my little brother hair down? I already knew how to edge up from, me and my older brother.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I took them down even all over, and then I put the line on them, and it looked good. So I said, okay, I could probably make a little money off this. So I was standing in the project, so I started going around the project, like doing nothing but all over evens.
Yeah.
And I just got better and better. Now I would say I never wanted to be a barber, but that it just happened. I guess the other questions explain that.
Okay. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay. So you said that you never really necessarily wanted to be a barber. So how did you? So from not wanting to be one to being really good at being a barber, how'd that happen then?
So, of course, once I started cutting hair, I kept learning and learning and learning, and it's crazy, man, because I feel like God was just putting it in my face to become a barber. Because when I went to college, like I said, I was cutting hair when I was in high school or whatever, when I was younger. And then when I went to college, I had a football and track scholarship, so I wanted to go to the NFL. And if that didn't work, I wanted to be in corporate. I got a degree. So my dad, I used to call my dad for money, asking him for money while I was in school. And he would say, like, don't you cut hair? Like, what? You ain't cutting hair down there? I'm like, nah, I ain't cutting hair no more. I'm done cutting hair. He was like, nah, I'm gonna send you some clippers down there. That's how you gonna get some money. And when we was getting ready to go out, me and my friends, we was in college, we was getting ready to go out, and my friend had a pair of liners, and I was like, man, what's taking y'all so long? And he was like, well, I'm trying to line them up. And I was like, man, give me them clippers, man. Let me do it. And he was like, man, you know how to cut? I was like, man, I know how to cut. And when I lined them up, man, everybody was like, man, I'm next. And I was like, see, I'm not trying to be no barber. But the reason I didn't want to be a barber was because I didn't think it was money in being a barber. And that was just looking at people who didn't take the craft or the business serious. Like I'm seeing the cars that they drive, how they dress, you know what I mean? They stayed in the project where I stayed at. So I'm like, well, this ain't gonna get me out of the project cutting no hair. So I ain't trying to do that. So yeah, so once I went to college, I started cutting, and then I started to make a little money, but I still didn't want to be a barber. It was just to put a little money in my pocket. Until I moved to Atlanta. Once I graduated, I moved to Atlanta, and I had a job lined up, but I didn't get it. Then I became a manager for Papado's seafood kitchen.
Yeah.
And I seen one of my frat brothers came in, because let me back up. When I first got here, I had a job lined up and I didn't get it because of some certain tattoos that I had. So I said, well, let me try to get in some barbershop. Mind you, in Alabama, we don't have a state board. So you don't need license to cut out of a barbershop. There's no state board that's gonna come in there. So when I came out here, I thought it was the same out here. So I was going to barbershops like, you know, I'm trying to cut. I know how to cut. They're like, you got your license? I'm like, no, I don't have no license. And they're like, well, you can't cut unless you have your license. So that happened like 3 or 4 times, like going around the barbershop. So I just said, you know, forget it.
Yeah.
Me just get a job. And then I started working at Papados as a manager. And man, it was so tough, man. Working them long hours, no little money.
Yeah.
On salary. So it's like my frat brother came in one day, was like, hey man, what's up? You know, I'm like, hey, I ain't seen him in a long time. He's like, you still cutting hair? And I'm like, well, I cut out the house of, you know, certain people, but like not for real. He was like, man, you need to cut hair down here. I'm like, well, I ain't got no license. And I already got a degree. I done went to school. I ain't trying to go back to school.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah, man, you can do this thing called a apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Like, do an apprenticeship under somebody. And he introduced me to this guy. His name is Mel. He used to own a barbershop on Delk Road called Razor Barbershop.
Okay.
And I ended up going there and being an apprentice under him. And man, that's the most money I ever made. Like in Atlanta, like people gonna spend their last to look good. Nails, hair, clothes, shoes, whatever it got to do, makeup, whatever it got to do to make you look good in Atlanta, man, they gonna spend that money.
Yeah.
And so, man, it's like the best thing I ever had. But I say when I said it seemed like God was just throwing it in my face to become a barber, because when I was in college, that situation happened. And then it was a barber that came looking for me to get a haircut. And when he pulled up on me, he had a haircut. And I was like, well, what do you need me for? You got a haircut. He was like, nah, man, I heard about you, man. I want to get you in my shop, man. They told me you don't want to cut hair. I just wanted to come just holler at you. You know, I charge you this. You ain't got to really do nothing. You can only work these days. And so I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
And then I did that. And then I left that alone. And then, like I said, when I was in Atlanta, my frat brother, I ain't seen in years, just pop up and was like, hey, you need to cut hair down here. And he presented the opportunity of apprenticeship. And I was like, okay, let me do this.
Yeah.
And man, I that was in 2015.
Okay.
So I haven't had a I guess you could say regular job since in 5-6 years.
Wow.
I only been cutting. And it's the most money I ever made, man.
So when it comes to, you know, some of the challenges that you faced when you first started, so do you remember your very first haircut in the shop?
Yeah, I do. Because I had to because the owner who I did the apprenticeship on, and I never heard this. I never even knew they did this. He was like, okay, you can cut. He was like, he didn't want to see no pictures. He was like, bring me 3 models, come in the shop and cut them. And I was like, all right, you know. So I brought, you know, my 3 people in the shop, and I mean, I did good on them. But my very first head I ever cut in a barbershop, period, man, I was nervous.
Yeah,
I was nervous because it was almost like cutting on stage in the audience. You know, you got people waiting, you got other barbers looking. You know, it's not like cutting at the house. It's just you and the person, or you know, you and your homies.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I did it. You know, I always felt like just do what you do. You know what I mean? Don't be nervous. Just do what you do. And, you know, that's what I did.
So what do you think separates you from other barbers?
Customer service. By me being a manager at Papados Seafood Kitchen, I was over the guest relations, and we don't call the customers, we call them guests. So I feel like my customer service sets me apart. I always tell people, like, with other barbers, like, a fade, let's take a fade, right? A ball fade. Yeah, you can cut a ball fade better than someone else. But what happens when you in another barber, y'all both good? I mean, it's only so much you can do to a ball fade to make it. You know what I mean? It's a ball fade.
Yeah.
So then you have to separate yourself. That's when it comes into separating yourself from, I cut a good ball fade, he cut a good ball fade. But your customer service, how you talk to people, how you treat people, how when they come and get a cut, they don't feel like they just come into a barbershop. They feel like they come in to get a haircut from their friend.
Yeah.
Counselor, or whatever you want to call it, you know?
What is
come in and I'm very welcoming.
Yeah, that's good. What are some of the challenges that you've faced as you tried to grow your business?
Well, right now, I'm not gonna lie. Like the only challenges that I feel like I face now is trying to please everybody, trying to cut everybody, and I only have so much time. You know what I mean? Like, you know, a lot of people hit you with, man, you ain't trying to make no money. Man, I retired.
Yeah.
You know, trying to squeeze people in, and like I would like right now I'm booked up for like the next 2 weeks, and it's like people still calling. It's like, I don't know what you want me to do. I don't have no space. The only way I can get you if I just work all day long. I can't do that.
So what days are you actually off from the shop? You said just Mondays or
Sundays and Mondays.
Sundays and Mondays. Okay.
And like I say, still I will come in and cut sometimes.
Yeah.
It just depends on how much they're trying to pay.
Yeah. I feel you.
If you're gonna interrupt my off day, I mean, you gotta pay me.
I feel you. So
Yeah.
So what do you have coming up next when it comes to what you have going on for the future? Like what's the next step in your growth as a businessman and entrepreneur?
Well, right now I'm trying to get into the real estate. You know, I do stocks or whatever. I used to want to open up my own barbershop, but I really feel like and you know, I might get a little flat for saying this, but I feel like barbershops are becoming obsolete. And I'll explain that because like you take a person like me, right? I have clientele, I'm a good barber. So if you open up a barbershop, you should want good barbers to come and work for your shop, right?
Yep.
So I feel like there's nothing a barbershop owner can offer me. You feel me? Like, what can he offer me?
Yeah, yeah.
But if he owned a salon suite, you know what I mean? Then I can come and do that. I can have my own suite.
Yeah, yeah.
But talking about coming paying booth rent and working for someone else's brand, we get to the point where you don't really need that walk in because most people don't do that no more like you used to do. You go walk in the barbershop, who in here can cut? You know, you sit in there, you looking around and trying to peep out who can cut. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now all you got to do is go to hashtag ATL Barber.
Yeah.
And you can just look at people work. And then you can go to their link and then you can book in their link. So you don't even have to, like most times you see like take for example, Hawk the Barber. Well, he cut out of a loft. You pass by the loft, you never gonna know that a barber's in there.
Yeah.
But by you having a steady clientele who can contact you via Instagram, you don't have to have that storefront like you used to, you know, back in the day. Like I said, I'll be 33 years old next month. I've been cutting since I was 14. So I've cut in, I ain't gonna say I've cut in era of barber, but I've cut when, you know, there no such thing as enhancement. So that's why I tell people, don't come at me with the, can you cut without enhancement? I've been cutting before enhancement came out, my brother. So yes, I can cut without enhancement. But again, people want enhancement. So if they want it, learn it. If you don't want to offer it, don't offer it.
Yeah.
It's nothing the barbers need to be going back and forth and posting pictures and stuff. No enhancement. I do this with no, like, that's not cool. I feel like if the customer want it, you know, if you can provide it. If they don't want it, you should still be able to cut without it.
Yeah.
But that's my goal. My goal is to open up a salon suite.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what advice would you have for somebody who's an apprentice right now, or somebody who's a student in school right now, in terms of them starting their business?
I would say come up with a brand, a name that you're gonna stick with, that people want to know. Stay consistent and study the art. I mean, cutting hair is an art to me. Like, go to YouTube. You know, some of these people, Yisra, he had these classes. A lot of people have these classes. I mean, you have these. You know, you got the podcast. Watch everything. People give free game all the time.
Yeah.
You know, soak it up. Get out here, introduce yourself, network. one thing that I used to do, when I introduce myself to someone, because I assume if I'm introducing myself to someone, they have a barber. So I always introduce myself as if you're looking for a backup barber, whenever your barber can't get you, here's my card or here's my Instagram. I know you got a barber. I'm just saying, whenever they can't get you, or whenever you need a backup barber, I'll be the backup barber. Now I'm knowing in my head, and I know my skill, that if you ever come sit in my chair, the vibe is going to be great. The cut is going to be fire. So nine times out of 10, you're probably going to keep coming to me for the backup barber, or I'm going to end up being your personal barber.
Yeah.
So I would tell somebody, man, just don't look at someone else's success as a barber and think you're going to just start and then be that. Like I didn't like I said, I'm booked up 2 weeks. I'm always booked up, but I ain't start like that. I used to do the parking lots and putting the flyers on cars and getting people to post paying people to repost my work, girls, repost my work, and doing all this marketing it. When you first started, market more than you could.
Yeah.
You got to get your name out, because you can be the best barber in the world. If nobody don't know, then that just, you ain't gonna go nowhere. So
you just dropped about 5 or 6 gems. You didn't even realize it. So I appreciate your time. Everybody who's gonna be tuning in, we appreciate your time. We said we were only gonna take a few minutes out of your off day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I greatly appreciate you being able to come on. We look forward to in the future being able to, have another interview when you're in your own building, owning all the suites. You know what I mean? And then, maybe we can do the interview live from there.
True. And then another thing, man, I always tell people when they trying to take that test or doing that apprentice, because I'm not going to school. Go to school if you don't know how to cut, or you need the basics. But if you know how to cut, I always suggest taking an apprentice route, and then come see Dan Brown when you're ready for the test, because that's exactly what I did. I did apprenticeship, and then I came and seen Dan Brown for the practical. And I mean, you pay the money, he gonna get you right, man.
Hey, I appreciate that. I wasn't expecting that. That's a good look.
Hey, I'm a living witness. That's how I got my license.
Yeah,
I came to see Dan Brown. So yeah, I appreciate you, man. Much you appreciate me.
All right, absolutely. All right, man. Well, be safe. Appreciate everything you're doing. Keep pushing our culture forward, and we'll see you in the next ride.
All right, brother.
All right, cool.